Hey guys, this is Warhawk Beyond 2040 and welcome to another edition of Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 review series, and today I'm going to be talking about Episode 11, Freaks and Geeks. Now, as I mentioned at the end of the last video where I talked about Episode 10, which in my opinion was surprisingly very good, I said that I'll be talking about Episode 11, which is this one, and I said that Episode 11 wasn't that good, and I rewatched it again, and apart from the ending and some little cool bits in between, I didn't enjoy this episode at all. It was really stupid. At times it got a little bit like Mean Girls on acid. I'm sorry, I just have to get that out there. I'm not trying to be derogatory or bashing this episode, but I just didn't like it. I honestly just didn't enjoy it. And I would probably say this was the worst episode of Season 5. I mean, I have said before that there were a couple of little clunkers in this season, but I would say overall, by and large, Season 5 has been mostly pretty good, in my opinion. There's been some really good, strong episodes, but this episode I would probably say was the weakest by a mile. And if I showed someone for the first time and never told them this was DC or this was Legends of Tomorrow, they probably would have thought this was some American Pie sort of esque episode, you know, where the high school jocks trying to pick on the nerds. And yeah, I just didn't like this episode at all. But there was some good moments, so I can't completely dismiss it, but I'm sorry, but this episode just didn't do it for me at all. And the only reason I'm reviewing this is because it's part of Season 5. Otherwise, if it wasn't, I would probably just disregard this one and just move on to the next one. But be that as it may, I'm reluctantly going to get right into this. Let's just do it. Let's talk about Episode 11, Freaks and Geeks. So this episode opens up with the Legends trying to figure out how to use the Loom of Fate, and they have no such luck with the magic texts. They agree that if they can't get it working, Sarah and Astra will join Charlie as temporary fates. John Constantine figures out that they can use the Chalice of Dionysus, which Nate remembers seeing at a farmhouse back in college. Before they head off to the Hudson University, Mick's daughter Lita joins them as their expert on what the kids are into. They head to an event undercover with Lita doing a school tour and the rest of them visiting a fraternity rush event where the chalice is going to be used as a prop for a contest. Now, this was a moment where the ladies of the Legends dressed up as, cheerleaders. Yeah, this is where it starts to go downhill from here, really. So we see a young man is brought into the cafeteria who hasn't aged a day since Nate was in college. Charlie reveals that the kid who calls himself Dion is actually Dionysus himself. Charlie introduces herself as Clotho, and Dion loves her because giving humanity free will has made him even more popular since nobody around him ever stops partying. So that's the reason why he won't leave this place, because the party never stops at university apparently. When Astra gets impatient and tries to steal the chalice, he tells them that they have to play along by doing the Chug Challenge, and they have to follow the Chug Challenge rules. And Charlie tells the team they will have to play by Dion's rules if they are to get what they want. The team agrees to try to rush some fraternities and sororities while an irritating rich family clashes with Lita and Mick on the tour. When Mick comes to check on them, Mick passes him off as Lita's father to help her chances of getting into the school. At their sorority event, Astra and Charlie get into an argument and end up being kicked out of what appears to be some sort of girls' club. Yeah, anyway. On campus, Nate walks Lita through Greek Row. She sends Nate into Dion's house to make friends with his fraternity, and she leaves to look around. After using a time courier to pretend a condemned building is Constantine's house, the ladies start recruiting sorority sisters. The meeting is about like you'd expect, and while Nate integrates himself into Dion's circle of friends, Lita manages to locate the chalice. After using enchanted beer to trick Nate into telling him about the Loom of Fate, Dion gets upset that the loom may be reassembled and people might lose free will all over again. At the sorority house, Zari takes most of the recruits into the kitchen, but one girl who is kind of a misfit corners Astra to thank her for all of her support. They ring the doorbell and it's Dion, who has Nate and some of his frat bros in tow. Nate is still drunk and acting like Jason from The Good Place. Dion tells the sisters that they are disqualified from the Chug Challenge and will never get the chalice. Astra tells the team that she's going to try to take the chalice by force because she is tired of trying to work with the legends. Lita meets up with Mick, who has travelled back in time and donated money to name a building after himself in order to help her get into the school. She tells him that she didn't need him to do that and would rather hang out with him and piss off some rich kids. Like father, like daughter. At Dion's frat house, Astra is ready to set the building on fire before Charlie comes to her and talks her down. Nate stops to talk to them, explaining that Dion only has the power to run the place as long as he has followers. Charlie decides to throw a bigger party down the road and out of the party god. At John's house, the sorority is bummed that Dion's party is still raging and nobody has come to theirs. Astra suggests that they sabotage his party by taking Dion off the board by using Charlie's shapeshifting to convince him that she is Nate. Zari hacks his accounts and gets rid of his music. They then ruin his booze by having Nate burn the barn where it's stored down. Walking into the now lame party, they bring the guests across the street. Dion comes in with a handful of boys who are still loyal to him. Sarah challenges Dion to a game of beer pong and he says yes. When she shakes his hand before the match, Sarah, who as we all know is still blind, sees the future and uses that vision to beat Dion in spite of her blindness. As his followers abandon him for Sarah, Dion's chalice can be lifted by Rory, who brings it to the party. As the legends prepare to leave the misfit sorority, they left behind will remain intact. Dion allows the team to drink from his cup, earning immortality for a day, and when Charlie becomes intimidated by the responsibilities of returning to being one of the Fates, the team all agree to take a sip so that they can all help her share the responsibility together. Everybody but Zari, since it's against her religion, and the group all start to glow, promising Dion that they won't loom anything that will ruin his party. After Astra puts one of the sorority girls in a taxi, Lachesis arrives, telling her that it's time to pay up for her debt from earlier in the season, and that pretty much wraps up episode 11 and paves the way for episode 12. Yes, I didn't like this episode, not one bit. The ending was kind of cool though. That was probably the only good thing about this, and I just didn't like it. I just found it really stupid, but the ending made up for it, and hopefully episode 12 will be a lot better. One thing I have to say about Legends of Tomorrow, when they're good, they're really good and they can really deliver good quality episodes, but when they go down the stupid path, it can be really, really stupid and at times very painful to watch. But yeah, I would probably say episode 11 was by far the weakest of season 5, but the ending was the only thing that grabbed my attention before completely shutting down. So episode 12 should be a good one, and I'm looking forward to talking about that, and hopefully it will be a lot better than this one. So I'm going to wrap this up now. What's your thoughts on episode 11? Did you guys like it? What did you think about Sarah playing beer pong but being blind. Do you think that was a good scene? What's your thoughts on the high school jock not being able to age? You know what to do, guys. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, leave your thoughts and comments down below, and I will be back next time for another edition of Legends of Tomorrow Season 5 review series, where I'll be talking about episode 12, which hopefully will be a lot better than this one, and I'm actually looking forward to talking about it. So until next time, take care everybody and stay safe.